Okay, so we're back and we are still in 4.2. We're going to finish this off really quick and um, see if we can get some more understanding about writing equations, solving equations, and giving meaning to variables. So if you remember from before, we were talking about like lunches. S stood for salad. W stood, I was remembering as I was saying it. W stood for sandwiches, the number of students who bought a sandwich. P stood for the number of students who bought pizza as a lunch. P sub L, I think that's price per lunch. Yeah, price per lunch. So then this R stood for revenue, and revenue is the amount of money that we bring in, right? We bring in, not subtracting all of our costs, just how much money is now in the register, right? Pretending that there was nothing in the register. It says using what you know about manipulating equations. Manipulating means changing. Like literally, like if you take Play-Doh and you push it and you push it and you push it, and then all of a sudden you have like a little mini Miss Johnson, you manipulated the Play-Doh. Manipulating just means making it look the way you want it to look. So there's a negative sense of manipulating. Like if I was manipulating my students into doing homework, they were doing homework because I told them to, as opposed to them actually wanting to. So manipulating could be bad in that sense as well. But here we're talking about equations. So you're going to take this equation and solve for P sub L. Okay, we're going to solve for P sub L. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy it down. So it says R is equal to P sub L, parentheses, S plus W plus P. Sometimes Miss Johnson like makes all of this like handwriting, so it's kind of funny. Okay, so what we want to do if we're going to manipulate and it says solve this equation for PL, what they're saying is they want an equation and it's going to look like this. P sub L equals to blah, 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 blah. Okay, so I see P sub L. He's right here, right? He's right here. So what's happening to P sub L? What is happening to P sub L? What's happening to it? What's happening to my P sub L? Yeah, so some of you are saying, shouldn't we distribute it, Miss Johnson? We can, but then I'm gonna distribute it and you tell me if you like this equation better or worse, okay? So we get P sub L S plus P sub L, P sub L W plus P sub L P. That P sub L is saying I am a different human than that P. P sub L is price per lunch. P is the number of people ordering pizza. That's a lot of P's. So, do you like this equation better, the black one or the blue one? Which one do you like better, the black equation or the blue? And I'll tell you which one I like. But I want you guys to decide first. Which equation do you like better? Which equation do you like better? Yeah, some of you said it. I like the first one better, Miss Johnson. Now, why do you like the black one better? Why do you like the black one better? If you can answer this, then we can move forward because then you'll understand. Otherwise, you're just like kind of like, oh, I think it's because of all these people, right?
You're basically wait, sorry.
It's okay. Yeah. The first thing I want you to say is how many P sub L's do you have in the black equation? How many P sub L's do you have in the black equation? One. Good. How many P sub L's do you have in the blue equation? That is like enemy number one. When you have multiple P sub L's everywhere or whatever variable you're solving for, you really want to collect them so that you can find one. Because I can't, right? So actually, the next step would be if you gave me this, the next step would be this. I would factor out a P sub L, which I think you guys understand that. I would anti-distribute. I would undistribute that P sub L, right? So here, I understand why you would want to do this, but do you see how this doesn't help us? Okay, very good. So what would you do? So let me ask this question again. I'm going to type it here. What is happening to my P sub L? Ooh, I can't write P sub L. I'm just going to type it out. P sub L. What's happening to P sub L? Yeah, very good. It's a multiple choice test. No, we don't want to distribute it because then that would give us here. It's multiple choice. It's either add, subtract, multiply, divide, exponents. Like those are your, that's your A, B, C, D, E, right? So some of you are like, oh, it's being multiplied, right? It's being multiplied, Miss Johnson. Good. Does anybody know what my next question is going to be? What's my next question going to be? I'm going to highlight this bigger. Sorry. What's my next question going to be? Since you answered, it's being multiplied. That's how you guys sound in my head, in case you wondered. It's being multiplied. Sometimes you guys sound more like boys. It's being multiplied. Just kidding. Yeah, you're multiplying this by all that. Just ignore S plus W plus P. For those of you who are getting super darn distracted by S plus W plus P, I need you to pretend this is a number. Someone give me a number. Hold on a second. No. He's asking yes or no. Okay. Someone said their favorite number is 7. So I want you to see this as a big 7. Okay. That's the number 7. That doesn't even look like the number 7. Just pretend that looks like a big 7. So this says P sub L times 7. Got it? So my next question is going to be, okay, since since that's what's happening to it, how do you undo that? Or in math terms, what is that's inverse? Yeah, to divide. Good. Divide by what? Now, for those of you who are seeing 7, you would divide by 7, right? For those of you who are not seeing 7, you would divide by that thing. That thing. That thing. Okay. So I need to move some stuff around because otherwise this is messy and it's getting my nerves. I'll take your work, put it over here. Take this guy, put it over here. Put it here. Okay. So since you said that I'm multiplying, you also said to get rid of it, I need to divide. So I'm going to divide both sides. Good. Here's the question. Divide by what? Divide by what? Put it in the chat. Divide by what? Divide by what? Yeah. So for those of you who are seeing 7, you're dividing by 7. Okay, now unpeel the 7 off. Unpeel that 7 off. What's really there? One more time. I'm going to start from the beginning. Hey, what's happening to P sub L? Yeah, we're multiplying. It's being multiplied. And then I say, how do you undo that? How do you undo multiplication? And you all said, divide. Very good. So, or what is that's inverse? What is that's inverse? I'm trying to put this as generic, whatever you say here, it would go there. Good. So we would divide. Good. My next question would be, by what? Here's my next question. By what? So whatever you were multiplying, what are you multiplying P sub L by? So I'm going to stay right here and I'm going to be a little bit stubborn about people seeing this. So who is P sub L being multiplied by? Who is P sub L being multiplied by? Who is P sub L being multiplied by? All right. Yeah. So some of you have gotten it, but I'm going to be stubborn. I'm going to wait for you to tell me what the heck should I write down here. Some of you are like, I don't know, Miss Johnson. So while some of you are like, I don't know, Miss Johnson, I'm going to remind you how to solve this equation. I don't know, 10x equals to 210. Okay. I know you know the answer without even thinking about it. Let's pretend that we're back in 6th grade. What would you do to both sides of this? And everyone says, "Oh wait, let's slow down. What's happening to x?" And you guys would be like, "It's being multiplied." How do you undo that? Divide. By what? What would you divide here by? What would you divide here by on both sides? Yeah, 10.
Does that mean we have to divide by L?
Wait, hold on. So here I divide by 10 because 10 divided by 10 is now x, and now my x is by itself. Whatever that number is that number, right? That's you simplifying. You are freaking out because there's no numbers in here, but I'm telling you, these are all just numbers that I haven't told you yet. So let's go back over here. What's happening to P sub L? It's being multiplied. How do you undo that? Divide. By what? Can you please tell me what should I write down here? What is in the denominator here and here? Go. Risk it. Just risk it. No, we're not here. Stop talking about X and 10. I need here. Don't tell me in words. I don't want words. I want variables. I think I have like 3 people. What would I write here? So R, someone says R. No. Right? Let me prove to you why it's not R. Let's try. So for those of you who are like, oh, I'm afraid of trying, try it. So let me put R down here and you tell me if I'm closer to over here. P sub L. P sub L. Is this, after I write whatever this equals to, am I closer to P sub L? I want P sub L to be alone, by himself, solo. I'm trying to think of other words to say alone, but I can't. So let's just say. So dividing by R, no. No, right? Because now R divided by R is 1. Now I have more people with P sub L. I have more people. I want less people. See how here I went from 10x to just x? Okay, so it's not R. Nice try. I like that. I like the trying. That's good. So what are we going to divide by? Who? So let me ask you this question. P sub L is being multiplied by what? P sub L is being multiplied by what? Yeah, it's being multiplied by this big booger. I don't know. It's a booger. Is it okay if it's a booger? It's a booger. Fine. So then who was X being multiplied by? 10. So who did you divide by? 10. So who should you divide by here? Almost. You got to write it how you see it. Yeah, there you go. I've got 1, 2, 3. I have 3 people who have the right answer so far. I'm going to say your initials. AG, BS, KV, JS. You all have the right idea. I'm just waiting for the rest of you. I am going to be stubborn. No, I don't think I saw you. I've been waiting for the answers. So, like someone said, LM, you said something, but you need more something to it. No, it's not the number 3. Because look, I'll just try it. Divide by the number 3. Did you get closer to P sub L? Everyone's like, no. Because now you have more stuff with P sub L. And then some of you are like, Miss Johnson, just erase it. You can't. Because then I can erase stuff off your bank account. This is very conceptual, by the way. For those of you who are like, Miss Johnson, I don't get it. Okay. So does everybody see how we can't divide by 3? Right. I can't just divide by 3. So that didn't work either. I mean, I said that wrong. I can divide by 3. But did it get me closer to my answer of P sub L being alone? So maybe you should ask yourself, who's with P sub L? Who is with P sub L? Now, if you're wondering what I mean by with, I mean this, right? I mean this. I mean this. Like, who is on the same side of P sub L? Maybe there's a wall right here. Put them in chairs. Yeah, okay, I got another person who's on our yeah, I got another person. I got like I think I have like 6 people now. Let's move. Let's go. So do you see how if I was to divide by 3, I'm not closer to P sub L? Yes, very good. NS, you're good. NP, you're good. VF, you're good. AG, you were already good. LM, you're good. So I'm just going to tell you right now. Let me ask a different question. Who is with P sub L? On this side of the room, who's with P sub L? Yes, S plus W plus P is. Some of you said SWP and you didn't put pluses in there. No, you can't do that. Because in order for those two to divide out, they have to be exactly the same. Does that make sense? So I'm going to divide by S plus W plus P. Now, if this feels weird, it should, because you've never divided by S plus W plus P, but you actually have. You actually have. When I divided by 10, I was dividing by 5 plus 2 plus 3. Did you know that? Which is the same thing as 10. But Ms. Johnson, 10 is 10, and S plus W plus P. S plus W plus P could be 10. You don't know that. But actually, it probably isn't because this is a school and there's not 10 students who bought lunch, right? Maybe. I don't know. So you have divided by S plus W plus P before because you've divided by 10. Because it works in number land. Guess where it works in? Algebra land. So all those times that you chose not to use a calculator, good job. All right. So Miss Johnson, what happens here? Do you see how this is just that big number 1 that I keep telling you about? Sorry, I'm going to erase you 7. Erase. Oops, I erased too much. Does everybody see how this is that big number 1? What's anything divided by that same anything? 1. Okay, let's pretend. Let's just make sure. What's 10 divided by 10? 1. What's 2 divided by 2? 1. What's a dog divided by a dog? And you're like, Miss Johnson, that sounds gross. It's okay. We're just dividing. Maybe it's like each dog can only fit in 1 box. So how many dogs are in there? So 1 dog divided by 1 is, okay. What is 3 divided by 3? What's 14 plus 6 as the numerator divided by 14 plus 6 as the denominator? Do you see where I'm going with this? It's still just 1. Is everybody okay with this being 1? For those of you who are conceptually like, this feels icky, please stick with it. Just stick with it. It's the same thing here. Remember how you used to feel icky about this? Right? Eventually you got used to it and you're like, it's at 21 Miss Johnson. I don't even have to think about it. Same thing goes here. So this is P sub L times 1, which is just P sub L. Miss Johnson, we're done. We're done. I'm just going to take this thing and make it look neater over here, and then I'm done. So R, oops, I'm still in highlighter land. So that's R divided by S plus W plus P. Notice S plus W plus P is all in the denominator, right? All in the denominator. So when you're checking your answer, I don't know how you're checking your answer, but when you're checking, make sure that it's very clear to me that this is your denominator. For those of you who are typing in Desmos, that drawing it is a 1. It's like a big fat 1. It is a 1. Don't make fun of my drawings. Look, it's like a block letter 1. He's like extra fat, but that's okay. We just got it stretched out. Okay. For those of you who are feeling a little bit funny about this, make sure that you understand to do. For those of you who type in Desmos, I'm going to show you this is not the way to type it. If you type R divided by S plus W plus P, do you all see how this could be misconstrued as wrong? I know. I body shamed one. That's okay. He has no feelings. Okay, here we go. Does everybody see how this is not the same as this? I'm going to put it right next to him. Does everybody see how this, but when we type it, it looks that like that? Does everybody see how this is wrong?
Wouldn't it be divided?
Uh-oh. Sorry, buddy. You are all, what is glitchy? Your sound is glitchy. Okay, wait. Let's type this up on Desmos and see if you can understand what I'm trying to say. Do you see how that's wrong? Like snap it, Ashley? Like snap it to half your screen? If you have a Chromebook, I thought it was Alt left bracket. Okay, here we go. So this is wrong. If you did this, if you did R divided by S, S plus W plus P. So this one here is how I'm reading it. Is this what you meant to say? Is this what you meant to say here? Everyone says yes or no? Yeah, this is no. I really wanted it to say this. R divided by, and then I'm going to put a parenthesis here. S plus W plus P. By putting a parenthesis there, even if I put it here, does everybody see how clear it is? This one's not as clear, but does everyone see how clear it is here that who is the numerator, who is the denominator? Does everyone see how clear it is here? So do you see how warped it is here? So be careful when you're typing it in regular type. That's why I like when you guys hit the math button, the math typing button. If you don't know what I'm talking about, what am I talking about? What are you talking about? What I'm talking about is, let me find this button here, right? This is the wrong problem, but just go with me. So when I type it here, it's going to show up how I want it to show up, right? S plus W plus P. Versus when I type it out in regular type, R divided by S plus W plus P. So do you see how wrong this looks compared to this one? Okay, I'm taking the time to tell you this so I don't have to mark you wrong on a quiz, okay? All right, let's move on. Okay, does your expression for P sub L make sense in terms of the meanings of the other variables? Let's see. Revenue divided by the total number of students who bought a lunch for sandwiches, salads, and pizza would give me price per lunch? And the answer is yes, it would. In fact, if you looked at units, revenue is measured in dollars. This is measured in dollars. S plus W plus P is the number of lunches divided by a number of lunches. And P sub L means price per lunch. Have you guys ever seen anybody write miles per hour not like this? Does anybody know an alternative way to write miles per hour besides mph? How can you write it besides miles per hour?
Write it out fully.
Okay, besides writing it out in words, some people write it out like this: miles per hour. They write it as a fraction because it's a unit, it's a, what is it called, a ratio, right? So dollars per lunches is the same as dollars per lunches here. Okay. Done that. So Elvira notices that she uses the expression s plus w plus p a lot in her other expressions. She decides to represent this expression using another variable t, so that t equals to s plus w plus p. What does t represent? What do you think t would represent here? What would t represent? Remember, s is the number of students who bought a salad, w is the number of students who bought a sandwich, and p is the number of students who bought pizza. T is not time in this case. Yes, it's the total of all students who purchase food. Very good. So number of lunches plus number of lunches plus number of lunches. Where'd my little thing go? Number of lunches plus number of lunches. I'm looking for my little, where'd it go? There it is. Number of lunches plus number of lunches plus number of lunches is equal to the total number of lunches, right? So that's what my buddy helped me grab. So I'm going to copy that. So I'm going to write it right here. Ah, what happened? Let's try that again. Copy. Paste. So T is the number of students who do that. So when you guys get stuck on word problems, go back and tell me what S is. I would scroll all the way back up here. Let me see. Can I grab this guy? It's not. It's not letting me scroll. It's going to take me there. So S plus W plus P is number of students plus number of students plus number of students. So the last time I checked, if I added students plus students plus students and I add them together, it doesn't equal time, right? Students plus students plus students equals more students. In this case, it's the total number of students. So always go back to your definitions. That's my key. All right, really quick, and then we got to move on. Elvira is having a meeting with staff members who work in the lunchroom. She has created a couple of new equations for her servers, this and this. What does D sub F represent in terms of the cafeteria? So D sub F. So remember, T is the total number of students times the price per lunch divided by F. What does F mean? Scrolling. F is the number of food servers in the cafeteria. So what could this mean? I'm going to write this out. So this is total students times price per lunch divided by number of servers. What does D sub F mean? So if you took total number of students and multiplied it by price per lunch. So for some of you who don't like this at all, you should put numbers in here. So let's pretend there's how many students? Ready, go. How many students are there? Perfect. Someone said 30. I'm going to go with 30 just so we can multiply really quick. So there's 30 students times price per lunch. Can someone give me a doable amount of price per lunch?
$3. Three.
Thank you.
2.
I'm just going to go with 3 because he said it first. I'm so sorry for those of you who put other numbers in there. Divided by the number of servers, I'm just going to pretend there's 5 servers, okay? So what would that equal to? So 30 times $3, what would that be? $90? What's $90 mean? How much? What's $90? Yeah, that's the cost of 30 lunches. Very good. And then you divide it by 5, divided by the number of servers. Divided by the number of servers. Yeah, it's 18. Thank you for multiplying and dividing for me. So that's 18. What does 18 represent? Is that dollars? 5 is, I'm pretending that's the number of servers. Is that dollars? If I take dollars and divide it by 5, it would still be dollars per server. Dollars per server. Does that make sense? So that's, I don't know how you would say this. I think you would say it something like, that's how much each person is bringing in, maybe. I don't know how to say it like that. Something like that. Does that make sense? That's how much each server is bringing in. I'm going to pretend like that is bringing in. Okay, let's see. Okay. The other way we could say it is total students. Like when we multiply these two, if you remember, that's what revenue was. Remember? So we could say revenue per server. Revenue per server. Okay. I'm going to skip this guy really quick because I really want to get down here. So, because we're doing this anyway. So M equals MT over T. Okay. Let's do this. Okay. T, what does big T represent? Anybody remember what big T represents? Big T, we just said it.
Total students.
Good, total number of students. So something is being divided by total number of students. I'm looking up at the chart so I don't have to scroll forever. And it says that M sub M T is the number of minutes it takes to serve lunch to all students. So total minutes to serve all students. Okay. So what would this be equal to? Why would someone want to divide the total number of minutes to serve all students divided by the total number of minutes to serve students? Oh, wait, sorry, I said that wrong. Why would someone divide the total minutes to serve all students by the total number of students? What are they getting here? So let's pretend, how long do you think it takes to serve all the students? Pretend. Remember, lunch is only 40 minutes or something.
25 minutes.
Yeah, sure.
They give you an actual number.
I'm just going to pretend 15 minutes. Someone said 15 minutes, so I'm going to go with that. Divided by, you said we're pretending there's 30 students. When I divide those two, 15 divided by 30, I get half. What does that half represent? What does the half represent? Half what? Look at your units. Half, it says half of a minute. Good. So the numerator is minute, right? The numerator is minute. What's the denominator? Very good.
Numbers.
Good, students.
So
Good. Someone said it.
Seconds.
Wait, say it again.
The first half, the second half.
I didn't hear anything.
It's the bottom one was 2, which means it would take like 30 seconds.
Yeah. So it basically means how long it takes to serve each student. Very good. So a couple people said this, so really, really strong. This is what it means. It means it takes each student 30 seconds to be served. Right? That makes sense because if you have a really long line and each student is taking like 7 minutes. Hold on a second. Someone can't hear. All right, there you go. Okay, Now I want you to solve for t. Now they want you to solve for t in this equation. Now don't freak out, okay? So here's what I want you to pretend. I want you to say m equals m sub t over t. And I want you to pretend that m is the number 3 and m sub t is the number, I don't know, 7. That doesn't look like a 7 again, but that's okay. So how would you solve this? How would you solve this? So I'm essentially saying, can you solve this equation instead? 3 equals to 7 over t. How would you solve this? How would you solve this? Any guesses? I will give you a hint and then someone will be like, oh, I remember this. This one's a little tricky because where your variable is. Yeah, we do want to do the inverse. We do want to multiply. What would you multiply by? I'll give you a hint too. When we were dealing with fractions before, I said no problem. All you have to do is multiply by your what. All you have to do is multiply by the what? Denominator. Yeah. Yeah, someone else said you can cross multiply. I'm not a huge fan of cross multiplication. I can go into why later, but not right now. So I'm going to multiply both sides here by the denominator. What's the denominator? What's the denominator? Good. So I'm going to multiply that guy here, okay? So I'm going to multiply both sides by my denominator, and it's t. Okay. Notice here, t divided by t is just 1. And I'm left with m sub t equals to tm. Okay, then it goes back to those questions I asked you at the top. What is happening to t? Uh-oh, you can't see this m. Pretend there's an m right here as my computer catches up to you guys. What is happening to t? What is happening to t? No, on this side right here. Remember, you only have, it's a multiple choice game. Is it being added? Is it being subtracted? Is it being multiplied? Is it being divided? Is it being exponented, squared, right? So yeah, it's being multiplied. How do you know it's being multiplied? Well, Ms. Johnson, I don't see a plus sign. I don't see a minus sign. I don't see a divide by sign. Yeah, and if you remember, if two variables are sitting right next to each other, it means multiplication. So if you need to, show us your invisible multiplication and put them right there. So how do you get rid of multiplication? How do you undo multiplication? Everyone's like, division. Very good. Then the question is by what? Divide by what? Remember, your answer has to say t equals to. Remember, you want your answer to say t equals. Okay, so what are we dividing by here? Yeah, we're dividing by m. We're dividing by m. Ms. Johnson, why are we dividing by m? Because m is the one who's with t. Okay, sounds good. Thank you for letting me know, hon. M is the one who's with t, and if we want t by himself, then we will get rid of m. I know, right? Divide by m. So divide by m, divide by m. So now again, you guys are going to make fun of my little t-shirt number 1 here. This is a 1. It doesn't look like a 1, but it is. It's like sideways. If you turn your head, if you tilt your head and you squint, you kind of shake it. And I'm just kidding. So then you just have t equals to this thing. So I'm literally going to copy this because I can. Yay for technology. And we're going to put it right here. Yay! Okay. The last thing I want to show you before we go off, and finish this section is that I want to show you how to check your answer. And you could do this just like if these were numbers, you can still check your answer and you'll see something really neat come out. So I'm going to show you using this one, and you can go back and check all of your answers if you'd like. but I'm going to show you how to check your answer. Whenever you're checking your answer, the very first thing that you need to do is copy the original equation. So I'm going to squeeze this in right here just so that we can fit. So m equals to m sub t over t. And what you're going to do is you're going to copy, or you're going to substitute. Substitute literally means go in place of. So like for those of you who play sports and you substitute, you're subbing for someone, everywhere that they're supposed to go, the T, I'm going to put this instead. Like literally, I'm going to do this, right? That's literally what I'm going to do. Okay. So I'm going to write this out so it looks a little bit neater. So m equals to m sub t over, and then this crazy guy, mt divided by m. So for those of you who don't play sports, substitution also works in food, and I think we all eat food, right? So Miss Johnson, this is a classic example for Miss Johnson. She doesn't eat bacon. She says, is there any way that in my sandwich, instead of getting bacon, can you put avocado instead? And they do. So where the bacon was supposed to be, the chef puts avocado instead. Are we okay with that? Okay, we're not going to put a bunch of bacon stuff in our chat right now. We're going to focus. Thank you. Okay, so then we have this crazy looking equation and we said, oh no, it's dividing by a fraction. You guys remember how to divide by a fraction? Do you remember this? You guys, someone mentioned it earlier. How do you divide by a fraction? Very good. You multiply by the reciprocal. So the bottom becomes the top and the top becomes the bottom. Very good. And then you'll see something happen. Sorry, I was squeezing. So does anybody see anything that happens here? Does anybody see anything that's happening here? Yeah, we're recording right now, hon. Yes, the m sub t's, they cancel. Very good. And then Miss Johnson's going to write her awkward one, right? She is now just writing a stick because it is now one. 1 times anything is that same anything. So Miss Johnson, it's kind of a weird equation because it says m equals to m. And all I'm asking is that a true statement? Is m equals to m? Is that true? And you're like, yeah, it's always true. So yes. So that means that my equation here, oops, I took them instead of copied them. My equation here is true. That's what t equals to. So the hard part about this, I will say, is that you all have to get used to seeing variables, and your brain, you have to kind of tell your brain, Sesame Street lied to you. And these are numbers. Like every single one of these things is numbers. That's a number, that's a number, that's a number. Those are words representing numbers. That's a number, that's a unit measuring numbers. So these are all numbers here. So even though it feels funny, one of the phrases I like to say is, because it works in number land, it works in algebra land. In fact, if it doesn't work in number land, it won't work in algebra land. So all those things, all those like kind of like rules that you came up with when you were younger, thinking about numbers, they live here. Except for now, we have to generalize them across any number. So here, earlier, we said that it took 15 minutes for them to serve all the students, or there were 30 students. But in reality, this will work for any number of students, whether that's 3,000 students, 300 students, 20 students, 2 students, it will always work. Very, very good. Very, very good. All right.